Hi everyone, in this video we're going to learn how to apply log rules, specifically the product, the quotient, and the power rule. So when we take a look at what these rules are, remember the product rule just says that when you're taking the log of two things that are multiplied by each other, that is the same as taking the log of each one and adding them together. The power rule says that when you have the log of a number raised to an exponent, you can take that exponent out and put it in front and multiply it on instead. And the quotient rule says that when you are dividing two things, you can take the log of the first and subtract the log of the second. So let's look at how these are applied. We are going to start by writing logs as the sum, difference, or multiple of logarithms. So in this case, we can apply the product rule because we have two numbers that are being multiplied by each other. So just as a reminder, the product rule says that log of a product, so PQ, is equal to log of P plus log of Q. So we can take that product and separate it out as a sum, which is what we're going to do here. We're going to turn this into log of x squared plus log of y to the power of 3. In this question, the other thing we can apply is the power rule. And remember, the power rule says that when you have log of a number raised to the power, you can take that power and bring it out in front, turning this into n log p. So that means in this case, we can take the 2 from the x squared and bring it out in front, and we can do the same thing with this 3. That turns this into 2 log x plus 3 log y. Let's look at our next question. So in this case, we can apply the quotient rule. Remember, the quotient rule says that when you have the log of two numbers that are being divided by each other, so p over q, you are turning this into log of the numerator minus log of the denominator. So what do we do here? We split it up, so we get log of the numerator, which is the square root of x, minus log of the denominator, which is y to the power of 4. Now, before we do anything, instead of writing the square root of x, I'm going to use an exponent rule to change that to x to the power of 1 over 2. So it's just another way of writing a square root, and that'll make our next step easier. So now that we've done that, we can apply the power rule. And remember, the power rule says that when you have log of a number raised to an exponent, you can take that exponent and bring it out in front, turning it into n times log p. So in this case, we can take the 1/2 and bring it out in front, and then we can do the same thing with the 4. So our final answer in this case is 1/2 of log x minus 4 of log y. Then we get to our next question. So similarly, this is looking at the quotient rule. And just as a reminder, the quotient rule says that when you have log of a number divided by another number, you turn this into log of the numerator minus log of the denominator. So this will turn into log of the square root of 2x minus log of a to the power of 2. Now, same thing as last time, we're going to write that square root as 1 over 2 instead. And that's going to let us apply the power rule. And as a reminder, the power rule says that when you have log of a number raised to an exponent, you can take that exponent and bring it out in front, turning this into n times log of p. So that means we can take this square root and we can bring it out in front, and we can take this squared and bring it out in front. So our final answer here will be 1/2 log of 2x minus 2 log of a. Then we get to our last question of this type. Now, before I do anything with this, I'm just going to rewrite this as log of xy to the power of 1/5. Now, doing that, the first thing we can do is apply the power rule. And as a reminder again, the power rule says that when you have log of a number raised to an exponent, you take that exponent, you bring it out in front. So this ends up being n log p. So here, we're going to take the 1/5 and we're going to bring that out in front, turning this into 1/5 log of xy. Now we can apply the product rule because we have log of two numbers being multiplied by each other, meaning this is going to turn into log of the first number plus log of the second number. So in this case, remember the 1/5 is multiplying this whole thing, and you get log of x plus log of y. And you can keep it like this, or you can expand it so the 1/5 gets multiplied through to both of these terms. And your final answer would be 1/5 log of x plus 1/5 log of y. Continuing on, we're going to look at doing this backwards. So in this case, what we're going to start with is the power rule. Remember, the power rule says that log of a number raised to an exponent is equal to n times log of that number. So in this case, we're going backwards. We're going to take the 2 that is out in front, and we're going to turn that into the exponent on the x. So that means in our next line, we have log of 3 plus log of x to the power of 2 minus log of y. Now, two things are going on here. You are adding the first two terms and subtracting the second. Adding means that we can apply the product rule. So the product rule, remember, says that log of PQ, or two things being multiplied by each other, means that you add them. So log of P plus log of Q. And the quotient rule, so if we have log of P over Q, we subtract them, which is log of P minus log of Q. So in this case, you are adding the first two terms, which means we can multiply the 3 and the x squared, and we are subtracting the last term, which means we divide by the y. So when we combine this all together, we get log of 3x squared divided by y. Let's look at another example. So in this case, we have negative log square root of 2x plus 2 log y. So again, the first thing we're going to do here is apply the power rule. So we know that log of a number raised to the power of an exponent is equal to the exponent pulled in front multiplied by log of that number. In this case, we are going to apply it to move the 2 to the exponent of y. So when we do that, it changes to negative log root 2x plus log y squared. Now, one thing I want you to notice here is although we are adding, because there is a plus sign here, there is a negative in front of the first log. which means we might be better off to rewrite this. So we have the positive term first minus the negative term. And the reason we want to do this is because at first, because of this plus sign, it can look like we need to apply the product rule, when in fact, we need to apply the quotient rule. So remember, when you are adding, you can always change the order and make sure that if you have a negative sign in front, you are writing that 1 second. So this is actually going to be the quotient rule. Log of a quotient, so P over Q, is equal to log of the numerator minus log of the denominator. And in this case, we are in fact subtracting. So when we go backwards and combine this, we get log of y squared divided by 2x.